Good morning and welcome to Chantex Multimedia live stream for Saturday 17th October, while streaming live to your device from beautiful Brisbane in Australia. Follow Chantex Multimedia throughout the day for key breaking news, developments, coronavirus updates and live streams from Australia and around the world. First New Zealand flight touches down in Sydney. We will look at that in great detail later on. And what step 3 of the lockdown would look like for the Melburnians. And of course, the single new case in New South Wales, but warnings there might be more. ICAC Commissioner apologizes for private transcripts that were published online. So it is very, very dangerous these days, with things coming online that, we need to be very careful what goes online. Trump and Biden hold competing TV events. But first, let's take a quick look at the weather for today. Rest of Saturday is going to be fine. Maximum of 29, bit cloudy towards the afternoon, 0% chance of a rain. Brisbane area partly cloudy, light winds becoming northeasterly, 5 to 20 kilometers in the late afternoon, then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger, obviously around this time of the year with no rain at all, is high. And sun protection is recommended from now till about 3 p.m. UV index very, very high at 9. So slip, slop, slap, make sure that you've got sun protection on. So Sunday, tomorrow is going to be sunny, minimum of 17 and a maximum of 30. Chance of a rain for tomorrow, about 20%. Brisbane area, well, it will be a sunny day, slight 20% chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the late evening. Light winds becoming north to northwesterly, 15 to 20 kilometers in the morning, then tending north to northeasterly, 15 to 25 kilometers in the middle of the day. Sun protection is, of course, always recommended around this time of the year, and it is the UV index will be high at number 9. Well, last night in Brisbane, we had a sold-out event at Suncorp Stadium, and if you were anywhere around there, we were. We'll tell you about where we were. But, for the first preliminary, and I'll tell you what, that place was like a happening place. And it was Canberra Raiders versus Melbourne Storm. And, of course, we know what happened. Canberra Raiders 30 to, 10. So, Melbourne Storm beat Canberra Raiders by 30 goals to 10. And last night at a sold-out event at Suncorp Stadium, and if you were anywhere close to the Caxton Street precinct, you would have seen the number of people that were there. Well, right now, the festive season of Navratri for Hindu devotees have been geared up, and they're all ready to celebrate it in full fervor. Obviously, under the current restrictions and in the way and the manner that it is now allowed. Apart from worshipping Goddess Durga, playing dandiyas, fasting, making special Navratri foods, many people also follow special colors of Navratri. So, Navratri, 9 days and 9 colors, have different significance. This year, The festival begins today, 17th of October, and ends on Sunday, 25th of October. Each day has its own deity and its own color of significance. So many devotees of Goddess Durga take these colors pretty seriously and wear clothes accordingly. It is believed that doing so brings prosperity, blessings, and good luck. So, if you want to follow it too, let us take you through the 9 colors for each day, and we will bring that to you every day. So today, day 1 is the day color is orange. So the festival begins with the bright and vibrant orange. This color signifies energy and happiness, and Hindus worship goddess Sailputri on this day.
जय मां शैलपुत्री प्रथम दक्ष की हो संतान, नवरात्रि के पहले दिन करे आपका ध्यान, अग्नि कुंड में जा कूदी पति का हुआ अपमान, अगले जन्म में पा लिया शिव के पास स्थान, राजा हिमाचल से मिला पुत्री बन सम्मान, उमा नाम से सजा है दाएं हाथ में संहारक त्रिशूल, बाएं हाथ में ले लिया खिला कमल का फूल, बैल है वाहन आपका जपती हो शिव नाम, दर्शन से आनंद मिले अम्बे तुम्हें प्रणाम। नवरात्रों की माँ कृपा कर दो माँ, नवरात्रों की माँ
So as I said today, the first day, is the color is orange, and our deity today is Sailputri. So we're moving on. We were talking about the Caxton Street and the sold out event at the Suncorp Stadium last night, and I'll tell you what, there was a lot of crowd, and of course. And this happens almost every year. Around that time is when the Italian Chamber of Commerce holds its annual dinner, and this year they also held their first inaugural business awards as well. And that area, getting to and from Gambaros on Caxton Street becomes very, very hard. But right now, let's go to Gambaros, and first of all, let's hear from Minister Grace for her opening remarks, and after that we will hear from Trevor Evans MP, and we'll show you some glimpses of the Italian Chamber of Commerce's annual gala dinner plus their business awards.
Present and emerging, and can I acknowledge President Filippo Dara, who does a wonderful job, and Filippo, we're actually sad not to have Sando here tonight because he wouldn't have forgot his notes, but Filippo did. But then again, Filippo, you're giving us a break where we can have a chat, and Sando certainly wouldn't have done that. Can I also acknowledge Her Excellency Ambassador Francesca Tavioli, and it's wonderful to have you here, Ambassador. I hear this is your first business trip since COVID hit, the whole world under this World Health pandemic, and we're very glad that you're able to make it to safe and sunny Queensland. So welcome to Queensland, it's great to have you here. Can I also acknowledge Consul Salvatore Napolitano and his wife Diana, and we know that it's been a tough time for you as well because Italy has been hit hard with COVID, and I know that both of you have done a wonderful job here representing the Italians in our beautiful state of Queensland and Australia, of course. Can I also acknowledge Trevor Evans? Can I acknowledge my parliamentary colleague David Christofouli, the member for Broadwater, and David and I, even though we're on the opposite side of the House, we're actually good mates, and David, it is good to see you here. And yes, I wouldn't mind seeing you back in Parliament again as long as you say the same about me. That's Can I also acknowledge councillors that are here? There are so many distinguished guests that really, to name you all, I'll be up here as long as Philip was, and all I can say is welcome to all the distinguished guests that are in the room, and of course to all our paesani that are here in the room as well. And it's great to be here for this Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry dinner, the gala dinner and the inaugural Business Excellence Awards. And I loved when Philip said that their theme for the board, and can I acknowledge all the board members here, is respect the past and in true Italian style, we cement the future. There is no doubt that's what Italians do. And I thought that was absolutely appropriate, that, whatever we do as Italians, we will cement the future. And it's good to see so many young people in the room that I know will be the future of the chamber. And can I welcome all the young people in the room, because we know that you will do us proud and cement as much as possible like we have done in the past. So it's really good to see. Can I say...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Minister Grace, and right now let's hear from our federal Trevor Evans.
Being here tonight, how good does it feel to all be able to come together to celebrate an event as a community like this? I can tell from the energy in the air that we're having a fantastic night. I promised Phil that I would be very, very brief in my remarks, and that's lucky for one reason, because in previous years when I've got up here to give a speech, at least half of my material has been having light-hearted digs at my good friend Santo Santoro. So without him here, I've lost half of my material, and I can indeed keep my comments very, very brief. We were talking before at the table about how this year has impacted everyone's lives, everyone's. And of course, that is especially true for a group and a community like this with strong connections to the Italian diaspora. I remember back in, it would have been mid to late March, when the world was going very crazy and we were all probably at our highest level of uncertainty and fear about what lay ahead. As a representative, and I'm sure that David and Grace had the same experience, I've never had so many calls to my office, so many calls for help, so many requests for guidance and advice. My office estimated that through those weeks before governments turned around and announced policies like JobKeeper, we estimated we were getting a call for help either by phone or email every 2 minutes on average, night and day, here in our community in Brisbane. And we're not through that yet, but it's so amazing and inspiring that we can all come together in this way, that we can start to plot our course out. And I understand that Phil and the team who are in charge of the Italian Chamber of Commerce going forwards have made it a particular focus of theirs to focus on the youth in our community and to welcome a new generation of leaders here in Brisbane and to the Brisbane Italian community.
Trevor Evans, MP there as well, and of course it was a very, very wonderful event. When you look at all the people, came up after a long time. People had an opportunity to come and meet everyone once again in person, as was mentioned, after a long time, that people could come about and meet everyone in person and have a function. And once again, this event every year is a sold-out event, as so many people wish to come and take part in this function, and they all come to attend this wonderful dinner function run by the Italian Chamber of Commerce. Well, right now, let's move on. And moving on, we're going to look at the key news for today. And first up is our Prime Minister, where he says that 5,000 extra people would be able to return on the flights that have just re-begun.
This agreement will extend out on this arrangement till the end of March, with both the opportunity to extend that agreement and expand that agreement should additional capacity become available at that facility. That would give us roughly, over that period of the time, given the 2-week quarantine period plus the cleansing of the facility in between groups coming through, of around about 5,000 people over that period of time. This arrangement is intended to supplement the more significant arrangements that we have in continually lifting the caps at our major ports of entry into Australia, which is now, as a result of the changes we put in place at the last National Cabinet, at just over 5,500 weekly slots and weekly capacity of people coming into each of those areas and going into hotel quarantine, which means we're getting more and more and more Australians home every week. And now we're also being able to supplement that with this additional facility, which initially will be used to take in groups as a result of supported flights coming out of 3 locations, firstly out of the United Kingdom, but there are also flights that are being arranged out of India and out of South Africa.
So the flights are going to resume, and it will bring in a lot more people. A lot more people will be able to come back, and probably just in time for Christmas. Well, right now, the second news is, of course, we have all been, taking a very close look on Victoria. So while on Victoria, Premier Daniel Andrews said on Friday that triggers for easing restrictions are under careful consideration. Here's that report.
With regards to giving some indication of what to expect in weeks to come, will you be setting new targets to meet for those new restrictions perhaps ease?
Those matters are being settled. They'll be settled today, tomorrow. We will wait until we've got the most complete picture, and then we'll have more to say about what the framework looks like. If I put it to you this way, what I can definitely commit to is we will give people on Sunday a list of things that they can do that they can't do right now. We will then also give to people across Victoria a sense of what the most important considerations for us will be in making further decisions about next steps. And it is a fair assumption that mystery cases are going to be a really significant part of that, because there's just no getting around the fact that we don't know where the person got it from, despite the very best of efforts, downstream, upstream, the whole thing. It's very, very challenging for these numbers to be able to determine how and from whom and in what circumstances that infection happened. And therefore you've got to assume that there are more cases out there than you think. And you don't want a situation where you open the place up too quickly only to then have that confirmed via different proxies, whether it be testing or whether it be people turning up to hospital needing urgent care. I do note that France overnight, they're reporting 50% of their intensive care unit beds are full. We have avoided that, and I'm determined that we'll continue to avoid that.
So, Premier, sorry, can I just continue? Sorry, so short of a massive outbreak then, is it fair to say that daily case threshold will be scrapped?
No, I wouldn't say that. I know it's frustrating. Everyone wants to be able to report what I'm going to do on Sunday. The fact of the matter is we haven't decided yet. There's still meetings, there's still all manner of fine-tuning and...
So there's still a matter of fine-tuning, and of course, you can never be too careful. So, safety and precautions need to be taken. Well, right now, coming back to Queensland, Jim Chalmers believes that the pandemic is an opportunity for profound change, as he said that speaking at the Press Club's conference.
There's a kind of a meta point here. It's to recognise that we know where we've been, we know what we liked and didn't like, we know what we're going through, we don't know what the future looks like, and it's for us to decide. And that's why I think it's so important that we have more ambition, that we have something meaningful to show people for all of the sacrifices that they're making. Like, imagine waking up as a country in 4 or 5 years' time. The COVID wards are empty. The unemployment rate might have a 6 in front of it or something like that. It looks like a recovery. And we wake up and we tell our kids, we went through this remarkable thing and we learned nothing from it. And we did nothing different after it than we did before. And our highest priority was to get back to how things were before COVID-19. That to me is an extraordinary failure of leadership. And I don't just mean the Prime Minister, I mean all of us, including friends from the gallery. Like, we have a big chance here, a massive chance, and we might miss it. The most damaging thing you can do is assume that your country has already peaked. At some point in the past that's as good as it gets. And that's what the Coalition thinks. They think that the best way to allocate all of this money is to use it to fast forward to the past. And a lot of people weren't faring that well in the past. Now, I know that from my own community. I know that from my own travels and my own conversations. We can do better than that. And if you assume that our country had peaked at some point...
So no assumption that we have always reached the peak. There could be another peak, and you need to plan accordingly and move forward. And in coming years, we should have done something that we can be proud of and pass on to a generation, or talk to our future generation to say, this is what we did at that time. Well. I mean, there are profound thoughts there as they go. Well, right now, we'll go to Adelaide, where there has been a fatal crash, and here's the footage, and the footage might be disturbing to some people. As a disclaimer, I have to say that. So the driver and sole occupant, a 59-year-old man from Ichunga, died at the scene of this fatal crash. As you can see from the scenes there, is quite devastating looking at that scene. And some of the things that our first responders have to attend to, and when they actually go about doing their daily duties of all the things that they do. And no wonder many times they also need counseling for all the things that they have witnessed. Well, right now, moving on, we will go to the next news, another disturbing news. In this day and age of sorry business, of reconciliation, of moving forward, of closing the gap, and all this that have been said, all this that we are trying to say and embrace through Queensland Multicultural Council and from many other organizations and many movements, including better laws for safer Queensland. So everyone's working towards that, bridging the gap and bringing the community together. But this move here by a Tasmanian council is under fire because it's voted voted against flying an Aboriginal flag permanently in the council chambers. Here's that footage.
I mean, the thing about it, I want everyone to realise is that reconciliation is a two-way thing, and sometimes I feel like we don't get the opportunity to have the opinion of the majority at times, being able to say things without being called certain names. We all know what that is, and I think if there were things that I could do that made a real difference, I certainly would. But I just think some of the symbolism that's creeping into our society, which is just way over the top, that sometimes we need to sit back and call it out at times. I'm a proud Australian, and I'd like to think that as a society we could actually put aside the race card at times and just focus on Australian first, and still do the acknowledgement of Aboriginal people in other ways, which I know that we do on a regular basis in a lot of different settings. But like I said, reconciliation is a two-way thing, and I think that focusing on one people and one group rather than being seen to be doing some of the things that I've seen creeping into our society, I just think sometimes there needs to be a chance to sit back and take a breath. I honestly can't say that I think that would, flying the flag continuously would make all that much difference.
So there you go, and they have come under fire, and there have been people who have strongly opposed that move. Well, right now, the next move, Labor is welcoming the AFP investigation. As we know, that land for the second runway in Sydney, and the price that was paid for it, whether it is worth that or not, and how did we come about paying that sort of money for Leppington Triangle, which is nearly 10 times the asking price. So let's take a look at that report and see where the investigation stands at the moment and what kind of investigations is going to take place, and I believe AFP is getting involved.
This is a piece of land and the acquisition of which the Deputy Prime Minister told us was a bargain and that was a good decision, and the Prime Minister dismissed as being just an issue of poor process. There is something very fishy about what has gone on here. Labor welcomes that the Australian Federal Police is now investigating the matter. It beggars belief that a Minister of the Crown responsible for a multi-billion-dollar airport build would not read a brief about the purchase of land and not ask a basic question as what is the price and is this value for taxpayers' money?
Well, is it value for taxpayers' money? And many times the old saying goes that the easiest money to spend is other people's money. Well, right now, on a better note, loved ones are reuniting after first flights from New Zealand arrive in Sydney. Like I said before, that we will look at that news a little bit closely. So this is one of the first flights to arrive.
We live in New Zealand. My son's getting married this afternoon. Just in time, 5:30 he's getting married. What is it now? 1:30. We didn't think we're going to be able to come, but managed it all okay.
So it's just so nice to walk out and not have to go into a hotel room again. It would have been my 4th time this year that I would have done it. So I'm just glad to be able to walk back in and not have to go to a hotel.
To have your folks in another country and then to have them come back home, safe and sound, not having coronavirus, it's great. It's a great feeling to have them back here.
But I'm so happy to be back. I've got a new great granddaughter. So happy.
Well, I've got a business here, so I've been stuck in New Zealand since February. So I've been trying to manage it from there, which has been very hard. So it's good to be back. Get to employ some more people, which is good. So it's great to be back.
Emotional scenes of reunion and people coming back and hope this starts is controlled in a manner so that it does not endanger other people as well. Well, one of the news that we had during the week, and the Prime Minister then at that point said that it is not unusual for China to say that now they will look after their own cotton industry first before sourcing it offshore. But right now, let's take a quick look and hear from Adam Kay, who is the Cotton Australia's Chief Executive.
Earlier this week, we started to get text messages from our spinning mill colleagues and agents in China suggesting that there'd been contact made with them, discouraging them from using Australian cotton by the National Development Reform Commission. So, yeah, it's certainly disappointing to hear that.
What was the message from those Chinese mills?
Well, I think they were being told that they wouldn't receive quota to get tariff-free cotton next season if they were buying Australian cotton. So really discouraging the use of Australian cotton, and we've followed that up, and that seems to be true. We've heard it from a number of different sources. So yeah, it's very disappointing for us to hear that.
So China's mills have been discouraged from buying Australian cotton. Is China planning any other action that you know of? Adam, what about imposing these hefty tariffs that we've seen already on other Australian industries and exports like beef and barley?
Well, I think, look, we're at very early days in this issue, and later this afternoon I've got a hook-up with our embassy in Beijing. Our ag department and trade department are working really closely with us to try and understand exactly what's going on. But we're concerned also about the relationship. We've worked for 20 years to build a wonderful relationship with our Chinese spinning colleagues. They love the high quality Australian cotton, and so we're getting messages from them saying how disappointed they are as well, because they've come to rely on that high quality cotton.
The high quality cotton, of course, we know that Australia produces high quality cotton, of course high quality coal as well, and when it comes to export, when those areas, your importers are imposed with the tariff where they cannot import, then it becomes very, very hard. As we know, Australia on its own is very good in production because we have got vast land, flat land, which is very easy for agriculture. So producing cotton, but converting that into garments and other things is another matter. That's why it goes to China and then comes back with ready-made garments and other things, because that's what they do, and they do that quite well. And the cost of that, setting up that kind of factory here in Australia Australia is very, very high because of the labor component and the other associated costs with it. So we are, great on that kind of production, and China does not have that much. It has, but not that much. So that the point there was that they wanted to, protect their own produce first. If they are self-sufficient, then there is no need to import. And if you really, really want to import, you'll have to pay a, high tariff, which would make Australian cotton very undesirable to import, even though the quality might be one of the best. Well, right now it's time to take a very quick commercial break. And with that, we'd like to welcome GlobeNet Realty.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world. Well, right now, talking about world, let's go to world news. And the first one is President Trump pleads ignorance about QAnon.
I know nothing about QAnon. I just told you. I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard. He may be
Why not
right.
just say it's crazy and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't know. So, it is, his manner in the way he says that, just makes you believe. Well, right now, he also couldn't remember whether he was tested or not. When he was asked about when he was last tested, he could not remember.
When was your last negative test? When did you last remember having a negative test?
Well, I test quite a bit, and I can tell you that before the debate, which I thought it was a very good debate, and I felt fantastically. I had no problem before.
Did you test the day of the debate?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I test all the time. But I can tell you this. After the debate, like I guess a day or so, I think it was Thursday evening, maybe even late Thursday evening, I tested positive. That's when I first found out about it.
Well, back to the debate, because the debate commission's rules, it was the honor system, would be that you would come with a negative test. You say you don't know if you got a test on the day of the debate?
I had no problem. Again, the doctors do it. I don't ask them. I test all the time, and
did you take a test, though, on the day of the debate?
If you ask the doctor, they'll give you a perfect answer. But they take a test, and I leave, and I go about my business.
Did you take a test on the day of the debate, I guess, is the bottom line.
I probably did, and I took a test the day before and the day before, and I was always in great shape. And I was in great shape for the debate. And it was only after the debate, like a period of time after the debate, that I said, that's interesting, and they took a test and it tested positive.
So just to button it up, do you take a test every single day?
No, but I take a lot of tests.
Okay, and you don't know if you took a test the day of the debate?
Possibly I did, possibly I didn't.
Possibly I did, possibly I didn't. So, there you go, he could not remember. Well, on the other hand, what did Biden have to say?
By the way, before I came up here, I took another test. I've been taking them every day, the deep test, the one that go in both. And because I wanted to be able, if I had not passed that test, I didn't want to come here and not, expose anybody. I was prepared to debate him remotely, which was supposed to happen, and he said he wouldn't do that, a virtual debate or a town hall. He didn't want to do that. I didn't set those rules. The commission set the rules. So whatever rules they set, and I'm confident that the Cleveland Clinic is the one overseeing it. I think they're going to not let happen what happened last time. They're going to demand that it's safe.
But you expect to be there?
Oh, I expect to be there.
So there you go. As opposed to President Trump, he has his test before he even came to that interview. But will Biden commit to a stance on expanding the Supreme Court before the election? Here's that report.
I have not been a fan of court packing because I think it just generates what will happen. Whoever wins, it just keeps moving in a way that is inconsistent with what is going to be manageable.
So you're still not a fan?
Well, I'm not a fan. I then say it depends on how this turns out. Not how he wins, but how it's handled.
It looks like they're going to have a vote around Halloween. So if they vote on it before the election, you are open to expanding the court?
I'm open to considering what happens from that point on. If I say, no matter what answer I gave you, if I say it, that's the headline tomorrow. It won't be about what's going on now, the improper way they're proceeding.
But don't voters have a right to know where you stand?
They do have a right to know where they stand, and they'll have a right to know where I stand before they vote.
So you'll come out with a clear position before Election Day?
Yes, depending on how they handle this.
Depending upon how they handle it, well, how do you reckon he handled that question? Well, right now it's time to take a very quick look at the functions and events taking place. Don't forget that a lot of these functions and events would be taking place virtually in a seminar format or a webinar format. Please do check. And before we start that, I'd like to mention that tonight at 7 p.m. we'll bring to you the first concert of Fusion Dreams live from this studio, and it will be streamed on our website and Fusion Dreams website. They have created an event of that. Make sure that you log in and you will not be disappointed. That much I can say. It's a wonderful show, and it's been put together by some very talented artists of Brisbane and with the new and upcoming band, the Fusion Dreams. And of course, some very talented artists in there, including Stephen Shankar, Mohit Lal, Yusuf Ali Khan, just to name a few. So, everyone's come together to put this band, and tonight will be the full concert. We have put some test streams before just to get some fillers, and the feedback that we have got so far has been wonderful. So, make sure that you tune in from 7 p.m. tonight, right here, right on this channel. Right now, let's take a look at all the other functions and events. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful having your company. Always good to see you. And if one quick request is that if you can share along our link and this post with your friends and groups that you are allowed to post in, and that would be really, really appreciated. We need to get the messages out to as many people as we can. As we know, what we present here is many things that are sourced from the publicly available domains, and we put together in a story format. And of course, we go to lots of functions and events, and we'd like to bring some live coverages from there as well. And we talk about things that are happening in the community. We also talk about many current affairs Affairs, and we will be bringing many more interviews in the future. And this week we spoke with Tanvi Goyal of Oz India Travel, and she was talking about all the things that are available, all the forms and everything that's needed, and how to book a flight and what would you need to go through to get on those flights. We discussed all that. So these are of community interest. And as a matter of interest, we will follow that up with a follow-up question and answer session of that topic this week, coming this week as well. And don't forget that tonight at 7 p.m. we go live with the Fusion Dreams and their Fest full concert, which will be streamed from here, from this platform. So until then, it's goodbye from me. You have a wonderful day, but most of all, make sure you stay safe. Thank you.